scars are, think of them like little nodes that are in our multidimensional body, nodes of information. They are based on our aversions and our attractions from our past lives. And our childhood trauma mirrors and maps with what we carry in karmically from past lives. What is the soul here to learn? You can also see a map of this in the astrology chart. There are maps everywhere in consciousness, maps of the subtle body in the koshas in the Vedic system. So our mental and emotional body has these like little, just like our musculature has knots in it, the mental and emotional body also has something similar. And it's important for us as a soul, right, to transcend the habits of the past, which is represented by the South Node and where you carry your karma, and move toward what the future is. Now, some of us have good, lucky karma, and we don't have to actually do much, opposition. We kind of like are here to do the same thing, and that's fine. Some of us, as myself, are here to do the same thing that we did, but do it in a different way with a different texture. All signs are opposite. There's polarity. But in that opposition, there's a true point in the center, which has an equal balance of both archetypes. So if, for example, I'll use an axis that I work with a lot in my own chart, which is Sagittarius and Gemini. Sagittarius represents the wild and the secluded, the monk on the mountaintop. Gemini represents the marketplace, the social media, the everybody going to one place and like daily work with everyone, like not daily work, that would be more Virgo, 6th house, but like the student and the teacher, let's call it that, right? Monk on the mountaintop, everybody clamoring together and shouting and learning from each other. So the polarity of going from one of these where you're secluded but you're wise and you're refined and you're a teacher to being a student, it takes the journey of actually being able to know when it's time and to have the discernment to say, I'm going to take this teaching and I'm going to break it down in a way that people can understand. I'm going to know when it's time for aloneness and when it's time for togetherness. And if I have both of those polarities that dance, when, there's a saying, and nowadays in this culture where it's like the real flex, do you guys know that? It's a very like Gen Z term. The real flex is being able to do both. The real flex is being able to know when to have all qualities of all the signs and have a certain sense of mastery over everything so that you can use each component. If that is the case, then you find, as Carl Jung coins, the transcendent place in the center of the mandala, and then you have access to everything. And this is what would be spiritual attunement or attainment. The same goes with how I feel that my work clears through transmission and through coaching and dialogue, your samskaras. So you have an aversion, right? Something you don't want, or an attraction, something that you do want, but it's a hook. There's an attachment there. In yoga, we are asked to have no attachments. We are asked to be a clear transmission and trust and surrender back into what the soul is wanting. The soul's desires and the ego's desires are different because the soul, this is something from evolutionary astrology, the soul's desire is to merge back towards the one. We're in an ego structure, and what we are wanting to do is merge back to the infinite. The ego wants to individuate and wants to claim and become something separate and have dominion over that. The ego also serves these attractions and aversions, and when we neutralize those hooks of attachment, this is a very Buddhist principle, when we neutralize all of that, we are free from suffering, or samsara, which is that wheel that goes around and around and keeps us looping into incarnations and being trapped into old karmic patterns which drag us down. The thing that I work on with my clients like 1,000% all the time is they feel contractions and they can sense something that my teacher Ram Dass said, which is it's old karma running off. Now that brings us to the chakras. You can feel in your chakra system when you have these aversions, attractions, this weight, this information that keeps you playing out old patterns. Your body contorts, you get triggered, and you show up and you shapeshift into a certain form. And that form has played out that pattern so many times in life. Our trauma that we experience in this lifetime is like a trigger that activates an old karmic pattern and gives us the opportunity to work with it and neutralize it in such a way that there is no longer a charge. When there is no longer a charge inside of our being, the samskara is neutralized and cleared, more of our higher wisdom self, our intuition, and our soul can enter our incarnation in this lifetime so that we can, as I coin in my work, walk as if we have wings in this world. Meaning that we remember our soul truth, we remember our dignity as an eternal being. This is very, very important, because when we are more identified with the soul and the witness consciousness, we become a channel and a vessel for healing and these higher beings, which includes our higher self. Because I believe that part of us incarnates into our body, into our soul, but we are so vast and multidimensional that only pieces of us exist here. And because of trauma and because of soul and because for some reason I didn't write the rules or the script, but suffering is the charge, is the reason that we grow on this earth. It's through pain, it's through loss, it's through the impermanence of life. That impermanence is what makes life sacred and precious and gives us reverence for what we can have and the joy that we do hold and the beauty that moves through us, because we know that it's ephemeral, that everything changes and shifts, that even our physical bodies and our physical form go from youth to death and old age, and there is a poignancy in that, there's a beauty in that, there's something so sacred about the fact that we do not hold on to anything, because natural law comes and goes. All things come from God and all things go to God, and we must surrender to that principle. We must attune ourselves to those natural rhythms of life and allow ourselves to let go fully, so that we, like the butterfly, can be digested, or the caterpillar can be digested to become the butterfly. This is how transformation works. If we want to get to that middle point, we have to let go of the shore. That's what that mantra that I sing all the time is, by the way. Gate gate paragate, parasam gate bodhi soha. Gone, gone, gone beyond the beyond. All hail the goer, the consciousness, the beauty of allowing ourselves to be burned to a cinder by life itself. And that's us, is the attachments and the aversions. We're burning away all of the dross, all of the falsity, everything that is not the true us, because the true us is eternal and the soul cannot be harmed. This is the perspective of multidimensional consciousness that I am transmitting and inviting you all into. I'm going to be teaching that in my program, Surrender. I am so grateful that this transmission is coming through in this exact beautiful way. It's an honor. It's an honor to have something to speak and to share. I mean, I always have it, right? But there's doorways that open, that come through. And I want to talk for a moment about the doors that are currently opening, because in just a month and a week, we are going to be going through eclipses. Okay, here's another thing. Here's another wisdom tidbit of life for you. I don't know how many of you are familiar with astrology, but the nodal axis is a place where it's a point, it's a mathematical point. It's not like a planet, but there's a mathematical point because of the precession of the equinoxes that we call the nodes. The nodes I was just speaking about, by the way, are in your chart. The south node, my south node is in Sagittarius, conjunct all of my other planets. And my north node is in Gemini, which means I'm moving from the south node to the north node in this lifetime. I'm learning I'm learning how to do Gemini in this lifetime, Gemini in the 6th house, but I have a lot of Sag, which is the opposite, and I have a lot of Pisces, which is the opposite of Virgo, 6th house. So it's very interesting. I'm learning about humanity. I'm coming from the cosmic, okay? It tells you a little bit about why I'm quoting to you all the ancient texts and the Vedas and the wisdom traditions. That's my bag, right? I'm learning how to bring it to Earth. So thanks for being on the journey with me for that. So those are the nodes. Now, humanity at this time, the nodes are somewhere, right now. So the people being born right now are being born with the nodes. The south node is in Virgo and the north node is in Pisces. North node is where we need to move towards. So we need to move towards the surrender point. Oh, it's so funny, my thing just froze on my, oh, there it goes, okay. I guess what I'm saying is very important. Okay, so the south node's in Virgo. Virgo is the shadow side of Virgo is critical and over worrying and overly detailed and myopic. The exalted side of Virgo is the healer, the priestess, the woman who knows how to work with the herbs, the virgin, but she who is whole into herself. She who is like Ceres in Greek mythology. She's the mother of grain and of herbs and etc. And it's also like, you know, specific doctoral work. Pisces is the cosmic everything. It is the soup of life, and sometimes can get mucky and soupy in that, but it's also this beautiful celestial access to the infinite in everything, and this beautiful door. So the eclipses are doorways. So the eclipses are where the nodes are, when the sun and the moon and the earth all align to the points of the nodes, and this year they're happening on the equinox. So March 13th, we're going to have a total eclipse, and I think the second one might be April something. I haven't looked yet. I have to look. And I think we might be dancing a little bit where we're still in like the one before with Libra. I have to look at the specifics. But the point is that March, in the place where we would normally be having the doorway of the equinox for spring, which really starts all of the energies of the new year, is also eclipse season. So the equinox itself is in the doorway of the eclipses. Eclipses happen every 6 months, and they are chapters of energy and chapters of time, and the way that they will affect you is very specific to your own chart. But what you say yes to and what you say no to on the doors of either the eclipses or the equinox, and now we have them doubled, are like giant timeline shifts and activations. So what we are affirming, what we are courageously expanding beyond the south node. So here's the last thing I'm going to say about this. You have to shift out. You have to release. Usually there is a trigger or a challenge of letting go of something that would pull you back to that karmic pull of the past. So you have to make a leap and say something like a yes to something that will stretch you in order to get to the highest version of yourself. So you move from one polarity to the next one, and you find that place in between, which is the transcendent point. And so I'm really, really grateful to be able to be a guardian and a guide for whoever is meant to walk with me this year, because I think that that is really what we do, is we hold a temple energetically that brings us through the year, because it's a 6-month program, right? So from the equinox in the spring to the equinox in the fall, it's a journey of togetherness and gathering. And whether you're doing that with me or you're doing that intentionally this year somehow, you should. because we have equinoxes in the spring and equinoxes in the fall, and those are always huge choice points anyway. And this year in particular, it's really activated. The other thing that's happening this year that I think is really important to mention, since I'm giving you guys all an astrology update and a wisdom talk, and then I'd love to take questions, and then maybe we'll sing another song to close, is oh wow, what a transmission, huh? That's been happening. What was I just talking about? I all of a sudden got distracted. How is everybody doing? How are you? Hi, hello. That was a really beautiful transmission that just came through, and I'm so glad. The okay. The outer planets in this year, right? So Uranus is changing from, it's been in Taurus for 7 years, and I don't know if Chiron is also changing, but there's a bunch of outer planets that are shifting from the sign that they've been in for XYZ years, like 15, etc., into other. So Saturn will move from Pisces to Aries in 2026. Uranus, who has been in Taurus for 7 years, is now moving into Gemini. But they do a dance of retrograde and forward. So this year is a precipice. This year is a flavor of what's to come. And personally, I had a vision, by the way, that 2018, I had a vision 2 days ago, that there was a chapter of time from 2018. Now, I track the cycles of ascension, obviously. Obviously, I track patterns, if you guys haven't picked that up yet. So, 2012 to 2016. They tend to go in like these 2-year groups, even like 2012, 2014, 2014, 2016, 2016, 2018, 2018, 2020, 2021, 2022. It was like this. 2020 to 2022 was like that COVID parallel. 2022 to 2024, but specifically I saw 2018 to 2024 as this texture of time, this texture, right? And then now 2024, 2025, probably to 2027, yeah, but 2025 and on are different from the cycle that's 2018 to 2024 specifically. Now, I had my dark night of the soul in 2017, and I've talked to like a handful of other souls because I do this work, coaching, blah, 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 and a lot of people had deep, gutted, wrenched experience in 2017, initiations in 2018. That time of healing from that chapter and that phase is completed last year, and as we move into this spring and the threshold, we are now tasting what is to come, this journey. The other thing, oh, good. Hi, Jennifer. Welcome, welcome. We're really glad to have you. This is really cool. I'm glad that I'm recording this. I'm recording this on my camera, and I think I need to put this on YouTube because this is definitely like a beautiful psychic transmission that's happening in everything that I know and believe in my work. And I'm going to add one more part, and then we'll see to celebrate all of this. The light worker, okay, I'm going to talk about politics for a moment, and I'm not going to go very deep, so don't get triggered, but I'm going to speak about what's happening on the world stage versus what needs to happen for you and me. If you believe like me, which means that you believe in equality, you believe that your priorities for the world are environmental health, education, women's rights, equity for all, making a more charitable universe. I deeply believe and prayed for a long time. I saw Elon Musk as like an alien figure. I was like, you have potential to be an awakened light that serves this world. I also believe that there are, and I'm not going to get into it deeply, but just like I do clearing and shamanic work, there are darker energies and forces, and I've never seen it more clearly than I have at this time. Now, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, I'm not a QAnon person, I'm not any of that stuff, but I believe that all those energies that I just mentioned are seeded by, how do I want to say, lecherous kind of energies that are not the kind of aliens that I align with in this space. In this space, we're attuned to like old wisdom traditions, bodhisattvas, and yes, totally agree. Thank you so much, right? So it's very obvious, and we've been talking since 2012 about, we are the light workers, we're here to bring a new earth, right? Cosmic consciousness, ascension codes. That kind of got hijacked and superficialized because of Instagram, and everybody and their mother became a coach and a healer. You would not be listening to me if you bought into any of that, and you would not be listening to me if you bought into any of like the corporate like greed craziness as well. So what do we do, you and I? Now, you and I are probably not rewarded outwardly, externally, for the amount that we give to the earth. But you and I could not live a different way based on our integrity and our codex and the wisdom and what we believe in and what we create, right? It is important and imperative that we serve the world into peace, because that is our mission of light on this earth. That is what we know we are here to do. We are here to teach. We are here to serve, and for the highest good of all, not even for our own personal aggrandizement, but to be in servant leadership. And I know that I am being refined again and again so that I am able to really hold and be an example of that. And this is something that I have had to mature into. And for those of you who have been with me for like the past 10 years or the past 3 years or the past 5 years, you have witnessed this maturation of like humility and being able to anchor in and pray in a way that makes me transparent so that we can come into service together and right relationship to all things. This is something that I believe in the most sacred way, that this is our dharma in this world, and therefore we need to gather in communities, which is why, you know, on a cheesy way, I do programs and I do one-on-ones and I do these lives, is so that we can have temple spaces where we gather and attune to a frequency of cosmic consciousness that we know in our hearts to be true, whether or not it is represented in the world. This is the most important thing, okay? The other thing that I want to say is that the world stage has this reality TV drama to it that is heartbreaking and immature on one level, but also we have to be very vigilant, and this is something that I need to work on even deeper, to not be coerced by. And it doesn't mean, by the way, tuning it out. It means holding it with boundaries, holding it in right relationship, holding it and understanding it. Because if I just checked out, by the way, like as a counselor, that's insane for me to do, because I teach and hold people's pain. I'm in it with them. I'm actually quite grabbed by the collective energies, which is why I can speak to them so clearly, is because I can feel them whether I know they're happening physically or not. So we have to be in a subtle attunement with how much of the world we ingest, because that's a different level of consciousness than the consciousness that we are meant to seed and hold on the earth. So you have to put a container around it, and you have to notice that if you are getting thrown off, grounding is very important. Being in your legs, figuring out the spaces in you that get hijacked. We have to shore up our leaks in our energetic nervous system. Lately, I have been paying attention to the foods that I am eating so that my energy body, my endocrine system is more aligned, and like that supplementation, like we have to actually, flower essences, we have to actually like beef up our systems, real talk, so that we can deal with what's happening right now in the world. And again, nobody pays us extra for that. That's something that we have to actually do, because that's our mission here in life. The other part that I want to tell you, putting all of that chaos and craziness and that sensationalism and really like dark wave like infiltration, we want to just kind of like have really good boundaries with that, shamanic boundaries with that, where it's just like, shh, not allowed here, baby. We got light here, not allowed. Yeah, that's how we do that. The invisible realm obviously is invisible, right? But not unseen. It is the unseen world, but it's not palpable. It's not palpable. It's not felt. It's subtle. And you and I, have to acclimate, for lack of a better word, to allowing ourselves to be what I've been being cooked into, which is what I call invisible acts of power. Now, I read that book. There's a book with a great title by Carolyn Myss called Invisible Acts of Power. And that book is really just about the chakra system, which is invisible and very powerful for all of us. But that's not what I mean when I say that. Invisible acts of power are you acting in right relationship and accordance with what you know to be true and integral, whether or not it is seen outwardly by your community, and vibrating out good love, good truth, good relationship, doing service work, but doing the things where I was just talking about, like taking care of yourself, doing your yogic practices, attuning yourself to the infinite, so that you can become a cosmic channel of more truth than you. Everything that I was saying about healing, by the way, becoming a channel to open up to the great spirit, because there is more of you in the infinite than there is more of you here in your actual 3D reality. Do you want to open up to your multidimensional consciousness? Do you want to expand the wings on your back? Do you want to feel like you are connected to the cosmic all that is? That takes our discipline, awareness, attunement, practice, discernment, and it happens in small and subtle choices. The attachment and hook that we could have is that we want to be seen in it. But if we trust in the surrender, we allow ourselves to walk as if we have wings in this world, and we become these beautiful instruments of healing, not only but also for ourselves. To know that we are doing what we are meant to do, our dharma, our soul purpose. And from that, it ripples out. This is what we serve. We serve this wisdom. We tune to wisdom here. So, for those of you who want to join me this year in any way, shape, or form, reach out to me one-on-one. Like, just send me a message. If everything that I'm speaking, and you're like, how do I work with you? How do I get to know you deeper? How do I do this, etc.? There's a message on Insight Timer, or again, my name, type it in, I have stuff on my, I'm not supposed to solicit so much on Insight Timer, so I have to be careful about what I say, but I really do want to invite you into my space. My website is my name. There's an application form. You can fill that out. Tell me what you resonated with, and we will be in touch, because I just want to make sure that my ripple effect reaches the souls that it needs to in the best way. And during this whole year, I'll be doing these at 9 a.m. Pacific Fridays. They're very different than they came out today. Today was a workshop and a lecture, and it was really beautiful. And we're gonna sing a song, and I really appreciate all of the people in the chat: Feather, Dana, Michelle, Jennifer, Jay. Thank you so much. Full ugly cry of relief listening to you. I'm so grateful. Sean, Elon has energy, alien energy. I've said similar, but I didn't feel crazy. It felt right. I'm very hopeful he will help navigate us into the future. I think he got hijacked by the negative aliens with the whole white supremacy thing. But I'm hopeful that somehow I'm hopeful that the battle between the good aliens and the negative aliens our side will prevail. But this is what I want to tell. This is just to sum up, like, the very last thing, so that I'm really, really clear. Even if the negative energies and the separation, because oh my God, I'm getting fired up, y'all. It's love, or it's oneness, right? Or it's separation. White supremacy is separation consciousness. That is where evil, comes into that, right? Love is, hey, you and me are one. America, in its energetics, is supposed to be, hey, we're all one. Look how everybody from all the world came together and made a nation. We need to support that. The whole thing about, blonde hair, blue, it's insane. It's insane. It's literal insanity. We're connected energetically, biochemically to the earth. We're made of water, earth, air, fire. This is where like the shamanic teacher in me gets real. Like this is, it's crucial that we remember that we are made of star stuff and from the plants and the animals and the ether, and that we serve, and that the physical form is limited and temporal, and there is some other currency that is animating our bodies. Let's attune to that. Let's understand that you are my sister and brother, and compassion and awareness will help the entire world be a harmonic, beautiful place where we distribute resources so that we can all live in peace with each other. Hear me. This is the truth that is possible to get to if we take a pause from our own egoic desires and we allow ourselves to listen to nature, to the wisdom of the cosmic, and we trust and surrender that when we do that, we won't be at odds. We will find grace. And the more of us who do that, it'll be a tipping point that we will alchemize a harmonic world, maybe not in my lifetime or yours, but hopefully with the experiment of humanity that's being given to this world, we will be able to transmit frequencies, or we will die trying. And this is warriorship. This is the truth of being a warrior of the light. And this is what I serve. This is what means the most to me than anything else in the world. And I am learning to attune my own self to my own wisdom, attune to my own soul, attune to my own ego, and let it go. And let it go and forgive all of it, because there's this other truth around even separation and even suffering is somehow perfect exactly as it is. There's this Vedic thing in the Upanishads that Shiva opens his eyes and the entire universe is formed, and he closes his eyes in meditation and it's all dissolved and destroyed, and then we're just being breathed by life itself. And so in some way it's already happened and it's already been done, and you and I are just dancing it out. But that doesn't mean that we don't act and we don't do what we know in valor to be true, because that is what we are here to do, to serve. Aho, namaste, and so it is. In love, light, and warrior spirit, this is Michelle Infinity, Michelle Coutinho. What an epic, excellent transmission today. Thank you so much, Great Spirit, for allowing me. Please stay in touch. Reach out to me if you are called. I don't even know if we should sing. I think I should just maybe release the directions, and maybe that was it. Thank you, Great Spirit. Thank you to the direction of the north, the south, the east, the west, the stones, the bones. Thank you for the beauty of this world. Thank you for this transmission. Thank you for the co-creative energy from all of the people who shared.